Hey guys, how's it going? Uh, this is my part three of my NFL mock draft. I did part one and part two on Tuesday, from picks 1 to 20. Part one was 1 to 10, and then 11 to 20 was part two. So I'm going to do part three now, and I'll finish off the first round from 21 to 32. I'll get right into it. So at 21, it's the Cincinnati Bengals, who I think will go offensive line. They've got one of the best right sides of the offensive line in the league, but their left side is a bit. They could do with an upgrade at left tackle. Andrew Whitworth has been their long-time left tackle, but moved to guard. So with that being said, I think DJ Humphries from Florida would be the right play for the Bengals, and he suits what they like with their tackles: big, really good run blocking offensive lineman, and can pass protect really well as well. At 22, it's the Steelers, and I think that'll be the same kind of. I think they'll go offensive line as well, and I think they'll take Brandon Sheriff. In a lot of people's eyes, he's actually the best overall offensive lineman. I have him as the fourth, maybe not the fourth best, but going fourth out of all the offensive linemen in this draft. He's probably got more versatility than the other three guys I've put ahead of him, in terms that some can play just tackle or could possibly play guard, whereas Brandon Sheriff's best position will probably be guard, but played college as a tackle and can definitely play both really well. And the Steelers have had a few problems with protecting Big Ben over the last couple of years, so that would be a really good move for the Steelers. At 23 is the Detroit Lions, with obviously Ndamukong Suh leaving in free agency to the Dolphins and losing Nick Fairley, and they even lost CJ Mosley, their rotational defensive tackle. So their three main interior guys from last season have left. They did get Haloti Ngata in a trade with the Baltimore Ravens, but they could still do a lot more to shore up that interior of the line. They've got some good edge rushers. So I think Malcolm Brown from Texas, he's a really different player to Haloti Ngata, so they'll contribute well together. I think, as having the run-stopping nose tackle, and then Malcolm Brown with more of a upfield pass rushing interior guy. So I think that would go some way to replacing what they've lost. At 24, it's the Cardinals, who again, defensive line is a position that Bruce Arians and that coaching staff love. The guy's name is a bit tricky. I'll try it. It's Owamegbe Odigizua from UCLA. My number 6 rated pass rusher, edge rusher in this draft, but not my 6th favourite. He's definitely in my top 3 favourites. I really like his upside. He's 6'4". He's got really good, probably maybe even the strongest edge rusher. It'll probably be the best out of the bunch in terms of run stopping ability, but can also get to the quarterback as well. So, and the Cardinals love their rotational guys and using more edge rushers. So they probably use more per game than anyone else. So the Cardinals, I think, will go defensive line. The Panthers, I think they'll go cornerback. It's been well documented the issues they've had with the secondary, even since 2013 when they made the playoffs with that really good run they made, having that amazing front seven, but the secondary was just not what it needed to be to go further on in the playoffs. So I think they're going to go with Ronald Darby from Florida State, who is probably the quickest cornerback in this draft class. His time at the combine, the 40-yard dash was amazing, 4.3 I think it was. So, which is tremendous, and I think he's got good size, 6'1", I think he is. And the Panthers have a really athletic, quick defense. So their front seven is a very powerful but quick defense. Their linebackers can all cover, and that would just help the secondary out and Ronald Darby in his rookie season even more. So I think the Panthers could go. They could take a number of cornerbacks, but I think Ronald Darby suits the Panthers defense really well. The Ravens at 26, again, I think will go corner. They were, an inch away from putting the Patriots out of the playoffs, and who knows, they could have gone on and won it maybe. But their front seven is arguably the best in the AFC East. not the AFC, sorry, the AFC. I mean, um, but their secondary just hasn't been up to scratch. So I think Kevin Johnson from UCF will be the pick. Again, I think he's 6 foot, 6'1". And I think if the Ravens compare him up with Jimmy Smith, who's entering a contract year, so they'll need to re-sign Jimmy Smith, with that front seven, they could go a long ways to challenging again for the AFC and potentially the Super Bowl in this upcoming season. 27 is the Dallas Cowboys. They finally broke out that 8-8 mold they had going, where they just couldn't get more than, they couldn't go above 500. There's been a lot of rumours about Adrian Peterson going to the Cowboys, and I think if they were to do it, it's a good move. But considering his age and the salary he's got is huge, I just think they could save an awful lot of money by taking a young running back. He's not going to be Adrian Peterson, but Melvin Gordon for me would be the pick, and I think his upside is still incredible. So I think the Cowboys will go with Melvin Gordon and not trade for Adrian Peterson. At 28 is the Denver Broncos. I think they're going to go with a nose tackle / defensive tackle. Obviously, they lost pot roast Terrence Knighton, who was a massive influence on that defense and a massive key to them having a top 5 defense the past couple of years. So I think they're going to go with Jordan Phillips out of Oklahoma, a player I really like, but a risky player. His attributes and his potential is off the charts. It's amazing, but he often takes plays off in games. He doesn't play the game, at 100% all the time. So if the Broncos could get him over that, I think they'll get a great player. So I think the Broncos will go with Jordan Phillips there. At 29, it's the Colts. Listen, every year the Colts, their goal is to beat the New England Patriots, and until they prove me otherwise, and I am a big fan of Andrew Luck, but until he stops throwing 3 interceptions per game against the Patriots, and their defense can actually stop someone at running the ball, then they might have a chance. They made some big moves in free agency that everyone's thinking, oh, now the Colts are the number 1 team in the AFC. Not the AFC, sorry, I keep getting that wrong today. The AFC. It's early in the morning. Sorry, forgive me. They're always being pegged each year as one of the teams to beat in the AFC, but they haven't beaten the Patriots in a while. Andrew Luck hasn't beaten the Patriots since he actually came into the league in 2012. So until he proves everyone wrong, I don't see why they're putting the Colts with such a big, a high level of quality, basically. So I think the Colts are going to go with Cameron Irving to shore up their offensive line and protect Andrew Luck a bit more. Cameron Irving can actually play any spot across the offensive line. He's so versatile, it's incredible. And I think he's going to go to the Colts as a centre in the NFL, though. At 30, it's the Packers. The Packers, I think, in the next 2 years will win the Super Bowl. I just think they kept that offense intact, which was huge. They kept Randall Cobb. I really like what they did in the offseason in free agency. They lost a couple of their linebackers, not linebackers that are going to, crash the world down. But I think they're going to take a linebacker to replace AJ Hawk and Brad Jones, who they've released. I think they're going to take Shaq Thompson from Washington, who can play any position across the linebacking position. So I think that would be a great pick for the Packers. At 31, it's the New Orleans Saints. I think the Saints are going to go defense here. I think they're going to go defensive line to shore up that, the defensive line. They've got Cameron Jordan, who's a really solid player, really good player, and Junior Gillette. But they could still improve it a bit more. And this might be a bit of a surprise pick, but I'm gonna go with Eli Harold. His upside is really good. A lot of people don't think he'll go in the first round, but I think the Saints, they've got a pick higher up in the draft that I think they're going to hit on really well, and I think it's going to allow them the possibility to maybe take a risk on a player, and I think at this point in time no one sees Eli Harold as having the potential of the first round pick, but I think in years to come he could prove a lot of people wrong. So I think the Saints could take him. They could take a player with a bit more, who's a bit more well known and a bit more, played at a bigger college team. But I think he's a guy who really excites me personally. And then at 32 is the New England Patriots, the champs, best team in football. And I think we're going to take Eddie Goldman, who is the player I want, a lot, from Florida State, defensive tackle, really exciting player. He's got so much potential in the running game. He can push the pocket and get up to the quarterback. So I think that would be a great move for the Patriots to get Eddie Goldman. And funnily enough, I still think he'll be available then. So that would be a really good move for the Patriots. So that was my part 3, guys. The end of my first round mock draft. So I hope you guys enjoyed it, and leave some likes and comments if you could, and see you guys soon.